Now if you're thinking about doing some still life pictures, you don't have a studio, don't worry. You don't have one of these, you don't have one of these, or even one of these. Don't worry, because we can do it with your mobile phone. And we do this on the tabletop at home, believe it or not. Fantastic. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Now the first thing we need to do is check the light from all your various windows in the house to see which has the best light. And we do this, and it's not a cookery class. We do this by taking an egg and holding the egg up to the window and see how the light graduates around the egg. So we want it light on one side, darker on the other side. And what this does, that gives you the value of the light and how it's lighting the objects that you're going to photograph. Gives you a good guide. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go around each of the windows in the house. Let's see if we can find a good window, a good quality of light. Now the light in this room isn't that good. You can see that it's quite dark on one side, and we're hoping to get a bit more light around the shape of the egg. So here we are in another room in the house, and we're going to check how the light falls on the egg. And not too brilliant here. If you look, there's a lot of dark on that right hand side, so I'd say it's probably not a good place to do it. So I'm in the bathroom now, and it's probably not a good place to be doing still life photography, but we can check the window. Oh, won't be a minute. Now even the cat is waiting to see what's going to happen next. So the cat and myself have decided that this is probably the best location to do our pictures with daylight only. So I've chosen some random objects, completely random, and I don't think it really matters what you photograph. It's the way you light it that's going to make it interesting. So we're going to attempt to light these various objects with the daylight and using reflectors, various things to make it look more interesting. So we've got this set up, and as you can see, it's very basic. That's my t-shirt, piece of glass. There's a box there to help the background, and we're going to attempt to make this look nice. So what I've done here, I've borrowed a piece of glass from a picture frame in the living room, and this is an old t-shirt of mine as a background, and this is going to be where we're going to place our objects. So I'm going to make good use of this dark background now, and I can adjust the exposure up and down. Can you see that? Now that's way too bright. And what we'll do, just bring it down so we've got highlight detail and the shadow area detail, and I think that would be a picture, I think. Now this next setup is a cork from a bottle, and the cork has a bit of texture to it that we're going to try and bring out if we can. Now if you look on the right hand side, it's just a little bit too bright and all the details burning out, and on the opposite side it's too dark, so that's a contrast problem. If we want it that way, we could take a picture that way, but I think we can improve matters by using a bit of tissue roll, and what we can do is reflect. Can you see by reflecting light back from the window onto the subject. Look how dark it is there. Let's bring it back in. And it brings a softness to the subject. Now another way we can reflect light back in to the subject is by using, it's just a pie dish, tin foil, and if you look, that really does give us some big contrast back into the subject. Now this next shot, I'm going to photograph this thing for crushing things up in there, and what I've done, if you look, that is just a chopping board for chopping vegetables. What that's going to do is that's going to stop any light falling onto the background so that I can gain some contrast between the subject and the actual background. So we're going to set this shot up and you'll see what I mean. So here we are set up now. We're sheltering the light falling on the background, and hopefully you can see that. If I make that darker and make it brighter, you can see the background there, but if we just turn the brightness down, we've just got a nice bit of texture on that right hand side, a dark background. And if we want again, we could always put a bit back in there. Can you see? Brightening it up. I quite like it like that. There's a darker side on that left hand side. Now here we have a golf ball, a particular problem. Now if you look on the right hand side, all the details disappearing. So what we need to do is turn down the exposure on the camera so that we just about hold the detail on the right hand side, but as you can see on the left hand side we're losing all the detail. So what we can do is just take a bit of tissue roll and just reflect that detail back in, and now we've got all the detail we need for it and a nice black background. If we had coloured card, of course we could have a yellow background, blue background, and it's just an A4 piece of paper really. You could actually, if you had coloured card, you could reflect colour back into your subject from the daylight, from the window. But what I've got here is an old glove, and you can actually use that colour to reflect back. Can you see the colour from the glove is reflected into one side of the subject here? So you can use anything with a bit of colour and it will actually work, as long as it's not in the shot that you take, obviously. But if you look, that colour's taken up in the wood quite well.